I want to talk a little bit about haunted history. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. It is a city, yet the smallest big city in the US, and it has everything to offer here that I need. I never really need to travel to my neighbor state of Illinois, although it is right there. It wasn't until I got a job working in Illinois. I actually had all of the Metro East territory. I was in a sales position, and so I worked everywhere from um, Alton, Fairview Heights, Belleville, and Edwardsville. And I learned a lot about Illinois during that time. Like I said, I never really crossed the river to go over to that side. But of all of those places, the most intriguing to me was the poorest of all, the town that is pretty much crumbling, and that's the city of Alton. Alton in itself is a river city. It is extremely unique, in which you go over there and you see it's kind of built like cliffside, and there's actually a lot of Native American art in itself. Pretty scary art on the cliffs. It is pretty much frozen in history in a lot of ways. Once I got over there, everybody talks so much crap on it, and because in sales they want you in the real rich areas, and there's really no money outside of this like insanely rich lawyer who might be one of the wealthiest, uh probably the wealthiest person in the state, to be honest with you. But aside from that, the rest of the city is really old and crumbling. But because it is so old, and so broke, a lot has just remained untouched, which I find fascinating. I find, uh, you know, the buildings in particular are very much interesting to me. So even like their old Freemason building is an old Tartarian style building that I noticed one day we went over there for lunch, and it's super creepy. Apparently haunted. It's not occupied. Um, but Alton, Illinois is actually considered the most haunted small town in the US. And some of the crazy things that, outside of just the architecture, the roads are, old brick roads that are just like super hilly. There's churches. There's so many churches everywhere. There's like churches just like next door to each other. Everything is just it's it's just historic. And there was this old penitentiary, um, sorry, jail. I don't know, an old jail, like pretty much there in the near the riverside, pretty central to Alton, which is closed down. But that's where they sent all the Confederate soldiers. And there was actually even a huge like measles outbreak where over 1,400 people died there. And there's like a cemetery, basically like an island just of dead soldiers. There were huge like outbreaks on the river. There's so many river pirates and stuff back in the day. River cities are actually extremely fascinating, um, but it is just known for its haunted history. It's also home of the world's tallest man to ever exist. His name was Robert Waldo, and I sorry if I got that wrong, but he was 8 foot 11 naturally, and so he's buried in Alton. Um, but overall, it's just a really, really fascinating town, you guys. If you're into history, I'd recommend checking out Alton. I'd recommend personally stopping by there. The energy is something else. It literally just fascinates me. I I could probably walk around there all day just checking out the architecture and uh, seeing what I could possibly just find out about it, because so much of our history doesn't exist anymore. But there's also, when I'm driving through Illinois, I saw a lot because I would, like I said, that was all my territory. So I was driving constantly, and I was driving all over the place. And to some guys, Illinois is a crazy state. There's pyramids. There's pyramids in Illinois that a lot of people don't know exist. They are They're really cool. I would definitely recommend stopping by there as well. Trying to remember that. I think it's Collinsville. No, it's that's okay. It'll come to me. But there's pyramids over there. It's a really crazy state. It's like going back in time. When you cross over from like a bigger city like St. Louis, which you know a lot of our history has been erased in St. Louis, and even just recently, about a year ago in May, there was a huge tornado that wiped out a lot of the historic buildings in North St. Louis, which is this city which has been crumbling. I will say St. Louis does not take care of its city whatsoever, and it's really truly a shame because it's left in shambles. But they want that to happen. They're all about the gentrification and all that, I will say. Um, but you guys, check out Alton. It's really, really fascinating to say the least. Between the architecture, just the way the whole city's set up, it would take so much money to try to redo things. Oh, I remember. Okay, so this is one of the things. There's a huge, huge mental institution. I don't know if I got to look into it more. Is it open? Is it closed? But whenever I would drive by there, I was like, that's insane. I know that's a little silly to say, but it was so big. I just have so many questions about history now that I know, of course, it's all a lie. Whoever wins the war is able to write history. And so, really we know nothing at all. But if you're a historian, check out Alton. Check out Alton. If you are intrigued by old architecture, go to Alton, Illinois. I said it's a river city and it was big. Uh, it was huge for the Underground Railroad because uh, Missouri, I'm sure, was a slave state. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people don't have them still here, but um, but Illinois was a free state, so there are a lot of houses there that do actually have crawl spaces and hidden spaces in which people use during the times of the Underground Railroad. So truly fascinating. Check out Alton, Illinois. Shout out to Alton. I love that town. Like for whatever reason, it just is so fascinating to me. So um, that's all, y'all. If you know any facts about Alton, I'd love to hear them. Um, or whatever, but it's on, like, all the haunted, like, channels and stuff. There's, like, a haunted hotel and all that, which I got some stories too, because I actually worked at a place that's in another river city that I actually grew up in that is supposed to be super haunted, some restaurant, and I worked there all the time by myself at night, and there was nothing, but, um, check out Alton, y'all. It's pretty cool.